We answer the question, is pre-production necessary? Why not just wing it? Well, we'll tell you why on this episode of BTS RAW Chats.
This is BTS RAW Chats. BTS RAW Chats. Where real media creators chat. After hours, we don't give away raw files. We give you the raw, behind-the-scenes chatter of the photo and video production world. The RAW Chat starts now.
Welcome everybody to BTS RAW Chats. We are real media creators talking about what really happens within the production industry. And my guest for today is Sherry.
Hey, how's it going?
Today we're going to be talking about pre-production.
Oh, this is so exciting. I have so much to say.
It's like the redheaded stepchild of production.
It really is.
Nobody really wants to deal with it, and I don't know why.
Well, I think because a lot of people have their own way of doing things, which they think is probably the right way.
Where do people get that from?
You know what I want to say, but I'm not going to. Forget everything you've learned, but we're going to tell you how to do it the right way.
Exactly. Tell you the backstory of why we did this show. It's because I have been in the industry for over 22 years now. Sherry, give me a little bit of background on your end.
Well, as far as production, I'd probably say about maybe almost 5 years now. Like solid video experience, like producing, editing, shooting, pre-production.
But your background was more photography, right?
Yes, photography based. I've been doing photography for about 8 years probably. Mm-hmm. It started in school when I was in college.
So what made you shift over to video?
It felt natural. I went to college for multimedia, so we dabbled in a little bit of different areas. And out of like web design, graphic design, animation, photography stuck. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's stuck. It's stuck. And then I took an AV editing course, and I loved it because I feel like it's kind of like putting together a puzzle. So like and the same thing with photography. I don't necessarily love shooting. I like editing. I think it stems back because I'm an artist. I draw, I paint. It's what I've done since I was like 4 years old. Yeah. So the photography for me is like a blank canvas. So if I have like a nice, perfectly crisp like photo, I could put my twist on it. It's like I enjoy the editing, and the same applies to video. So it's kind of like you got this raw footage, and it's like, what am I going to do with it now?
Exactly.
You know, I want to make it look cool, make it look really nice.
A little background on my end. I have like
you have
a resume of stuff. So I've been in the industry for over 25 years. I'm not going to bore you with my resume, but I know what goes in and out of production, and I've seen it. The big problem with me right now in my life is that I am in a place that I don't really want to be. I'm just not really happy where I'm at right now, and I feel stuck. And I feel that there's a lot of people just like me trying to reach that, goal of becoming the independent filmmaker or getting into production or I'm a cinematographer. How could I take your order today? Welcome to Fridays.
Let me help you bag I'll help you bag those groceries.
Exactly. The starving artist,
it's
right?
True, yeah.
The reason why I wanted to do this show with you and I talk all the time over the phone about all the headaches that happen on literally a daily basis. It never ceases to stop. Names do not apply to this show. So hopefully you can understand a little bit of our frustration and what we go to on a day-to-day. And this is more for the media creators out there, the content creators, the filmmakers, anything that involves production in video and photography, because they kind of come in hand.
Right.
So today we're going to be talking about pre-production. Is pre-production necessary? Yes, and yes.
Totally.
Why is pre-production necessary?
Because you need to know what you're going to do.
Oh. Wow, Captain Obvious.
What is it that we're going to
do? Exactly. I don't understand why pre-production is the redheaded stepchild of production. You don't go to a $12 million movie set and be like, we've got over $50 million worth of equipment here. Let's put a light here. What's the story about? Usually you have a storyboard. You have a script that has been like combed through for months, even years. There's this one person that they're doing a movie right now with Shaq. And they're going...
Shaq-a-roni.
Yeah, they're going back and forth, ironing out some of the kinks in the scripts and all that stuff. And my point is pre-production should be the biggest thing that you should have before anything, because it'll save on time, it'll save on money.
Yes, definitely.
And it'll save so many headaches. Now, obviously there's going to be changes, but if you have the core foundation of what's going on, you know,
an outline of what you're going to do, like a blueprint.
Exactly. And I'll give you an example. Okay.
I'm ready.
I have this project happening right now where literally they came up to us and they wanted us to do a trailerish type of opener, right? No script, no voiceover, nothing. I literally, I'm not joking, have been on this project for the past 6 months. No joke.
Right, because you have no direction. You don't know. You're just winging it.
Literally a couple days ago, I finally got a script and I finally got a voiceover. And guess what? The workflow was a lot faster.
Right.
Now, I'm on the 8th version of this, but it would have been nice. I would have saved so much time and would have saved the client so much money if this was nipped in the butt the first time.
Right, but they think that they might bounce an idea off of you and think that it just magically appears. Well, you're the video editor. You're the videographer. Go make it. Oh, it'll be easy. You just put it together real quick.
The worst sentence in the world. We'll fix it in post.
Oh, definitely. Don't worry. We'll fix that in post.
Exactly. Tell me a story that happens to you on almost a daily basis in your neck of the woods.
I have to be very selective.
Yes.
Well, let me pick a good one.
Obviously, pre-production doesn't have to be, you don't have to write a book.
Right. Just to have basic guidelines.
Exactly. An outline.
Like, hey, what is this supposed to be about?
And later on in the show, we'll give you like 3 key elements after our break. I want to go back to your story. So, funny little background on Sherry.
Do tell.
Let's go back 4 years ago. I was working for a company doing their...
Everything?
Yes. I would say I was their multimedia producer.
Oh, that's what I am.
Term.
Yes, that's what I am. I'm the creative media specialist.
Oh. Excuse me.
Sounds fancy, right?
Yeah, but that means absolutely nothing.
Right.
Because we have no say and no authority of what to do. It just
basically means that you just do it all.
Exactly. So one of the biggest frustrations is almost on a daily basis, you and I get beat down by our boss, you know. Let us use our Jedi mind tricks.
You have to be a mind reader.
Yes, and yes, that is the flyer that you want. Yes, that is it.
What would you like it to say?
Exactly.
Well, I don't know.
Exactly. Outline should be key, at least an outline. And I try to project that, but it always happens to where...
It's so true.
Right?
Try again.
Our boss at the time, in their head, this is the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, that wasn't what I was thinking.
Right. Or you do come up with, you have somewhat of a pre-production, you have a nice little guideline going, and you at least have an idea of the direction that you want to go in. But then at the last minute, they change it on you.
Yes.
So you have to be able to adapt, I mean, obviously. But if you don't have any kind of pre-production and you are just winging it, then it just becomes chaotic.
What do? You're frustrated. You're trying to get this project done. Do you just take it on yourself?
I just cry. I go to the bathroom and I cry for like a minute.
Yes, exactly.
And then I gather myself together and I get back out there.
Yes, that's it.
Pretty much.
How do we get around it? Well, one thing is just do it. Just write an outline.
Right.
You know, if you have like literally 5 minutes to write an outline, at least you have something to follow.
Even if you're just jotting it down, because that's pretty much what I do. Like I'll know, say, what we're shooting, kind of an idea at least, and I'll just make my own outline.
We worked for a company that provide training videos. They have provided training videos for the industry. At the time before I was there was hardly any structure.
That was way back when.
Oh yeah, and and it's funny because I had to take the reins and I had to basically create my own workflow or work structure, and that involves in pre-production. The more communication,
right,
you know, detailed and outlined you are, the better.
And that's exactly what I did too, because it was kind of like I took over Dave's position. Dave was leaving and I came in. And when it came down to doing video production, it was like being thrown to the wolves. Like, I really honestly didn't know what I was doing. Just kind of winged it. You know, I mean, I had an idea, but as it went on and I learned how to do things, I learned how to make it work for me. You can take what somebody teaches you and maybe not necessarily do it exactly the way that they teach you, but you make your own workflow.
Right.
You know, and like I would make my own outlines, build my own set up cameras how I want them, and just kind of, because you're really like a one-man band. It's rare that you actually have like good help or somebody that's actually capable of helping you. So you have to learn quickly how to adapt and do things by yourself.
Well, after this break, we're going to be talking about 3 key elements to building your pre-production.
Ooh, can't wait.
Sherry Elisa Photography specializes in beautifully styled modern portrait photography, offering professional in-studio photography services to all of Southwest Florida. Push creativity to the next level. Create custom themes that will complement every personality and style. On-site professional hair and makeup is also available. Our studio is conveniently located off US 41 and Boy Scout Drive, next door to the Sam's Club Plaza. Book your spot now with SherryElisaPhotography.com.
And we are back on RAW Chats, BTS RAW Chats. So we're talking about pre-production, an outline. What exactly would you say is a good rough outline? We have no idea.
I start with the title of whatever the class is.
That would be perfect, right? Obviously, it's there. If you go on every YouTube video, every podcast show,
right,
you know, you have a title,
right,
and then you have a description,
right,
and then you have like tags and like all this stuff. Guess what? They had a plan on exactly
right,
what they were going to talk about.
Right.
This show, we had a plan exactly what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
The basic outline is start off with the title. For example, for a classroom setting, what I like to do is I like to break up the classes no more than like 10 clips. Say, for example, roughly it's like 5 to 6 minutes. So you don't want to bore someone to death.
Exactly,
because,
right. You don't want to have a 2-hour long just bore fest.
Well, guess what happened before I was there? We had a 4.5 hour program.
Wow. Just straight through.
Just straight through. Because
who
one,
I personally don't have an attention span for that. Like anything more
who does?
There has to be like
who
breaks,
does?
like 10-minute increments, like some kind of to break it up.
I always joked that industry was in the wrong industry, and they should start selling sleeping, sleeping
like
meditation
sleep aid,
stuff or whatnot. You know, because you will fall asleep
like having
watching that type
trouble
of content.
sleeping. Well, watch our content.
Exactly. But my point is that you want to engage the audience. You want to inform them, and then have a call to action. You know what I'm saying? At the end, if you don't have a call to action, have an ending.
Right.
Thanks, folks.
Right.
Yeah. And it all depends on the type of content that you're building. We just gave an example of training content. How about photography? How does that apply to photography?
The same applies. Like I'll start with, say, a client approaches me to say they want to have family photos. find out who's in the family. How many people are you bringing 20 people to the studio, or are you a family of 4? Do they want indoors, outdoors? I build like a storyboard.
Nice.
And like good examples, when I used to shoot a lot of weddings. So I used to definitely storyboard for that. And like, you don't have to know everybody that's in the wedding party, but I would go in. I always say shoot with a purpose, because if not, you're just blindly, randomly doing stuff that makes no sense.
Exactly.
And especially in video, that's bad, because if you're shooting random video, then when it comes time to put it together, like nothing makes sense. So, but you go in and you have like the getting ready part, or sometimes people do like a sneak peek,
right,
where the groom takes a little sneak peek of his bride to be. With the families, you have to always do, especially for weddings, like formal photos.
Right.
But say you do have a family of 20, like I would start with the bride and her parents, and then like the husband and his parents. Like I would build the family.
Nice.
Like it's kind of hard to explain it, but like you would bring in, like you do immediate family first, and then you build on, and then you build on, and then you build on. And I don't know, it just kind of worked for me, because if not, it's so chaotic sometimes, like you might forget like how to. So I'm a creature of habit, so like I always do things by routine. Yeah. So like sometimes if I venture away from that routine, it like totally screws me up.
And that's and that's exactly my point. You build a routine,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And sometimes it comes natural. Maybe you don't really need an outline, but at least you have it in your head.
Yeah, or like even like little notes, like jot down notes on the pad, and just because, especially when you're working by yourself too, like it's easy to forget. As much as you think you're on point, like, oh, I've done this, 1,000 times before. When you're running the show by yourself, you have to keep some kind of a checklist, because things go overlooked.
That's a good point.
Like,
and
did you hit record?
Exactly. Yes, the cold sweat of fear.
Like an hour in, gee, how come that's not lit up?
Listen, I have been a victim to the non-record gremlin, so I know how that feels,
really bad feeling.
and it feels like your gut is like sucked into your
really
your
is.
butthole.
Yeah, it really is.
But here's
Who can I blame this on?
Exactly. But here's the safe part. Yeah, that was good. Can we do it again?
Yes.
So, word to the wise, even the professionals F up. You know what I mean?
Let's do one for safety.
Exactly. Let's do one for safety. Yeah, that was good, but let's do it again. So, outline your shots, build some type of outline, whether it's basic or as specific as you want. The biggest thing is the more specific you are, the better and cheaper and less time you're going to spend in production and post-production, because pre-production is the very first step. Right. If you skip that part, everything else falls apart, because that is the foundation of your workflow, right. Pre-production. So I have 3 recommendations. One is Think Media, and our show notes are highlighting some of the things that hopefully could help you out. There's another one that has Westcott Lighting, and Westcott. He was talking to more or less about prepping up for a video shoot. And also Becki and Chris, I follow them. I follow her around when she's doing her videos. She has a really good tip on building pre-production for most of her topics for her YouTube and stuff. So there's 3 effects there. With that, what's the point of the show?
I don't know, Dave. What is the point?
Time. Saving as much time as possible and money on both ends, and very clear understanding of what the final project will be.
Right. The total opposite of what I'm used to.
Exactly. How do you combat that? You do it yourself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to just
take charge.
Do it yourself and take charge. And like, if it bites you in the butt in the end, guess what? My ass is covered.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? Because you have the paper. You said
documentation is everything, that's not just for pre-production.
One of the biggest things that I couldn't stand. There's no procedures. There's no procedures at all.
No shit.
Let's think about this. I had Evernote at one time. I had Google Docs. We had Google Docs at another time. We had another software called Reich.
I actually really liked Reich.
Yeah.
I was into it.
So
I was feeling it.
Again, task management. And what is task management is pre-production.
Yeah.
You know, in a way.
It worked, and I really liked it. And then that got discontinued. So I was like, all right, well, I need something. Because I have tons of notepads, you know, and then it gets to the point where, like, you don't know what you wrote on what pad because you had got, like, a stack of them on your desk. So I started using Milanote, which is kind of like Evernote.
Okay.
But it syncs to everything, so it's nice. So, like, I could start on my laptop, and then when I'm in production, say shooting, I just put it up on my iPad, and it kind of syncs back and forth. So you just, like, take notes and build, like, your project, and you could put assets in there or, you know, logos, intros, outros, and just kind of build on that. So that's kind of how I do my production. So, like, if I know, say, so-and-so's coming into the studio, I immediately make a project folder for that with the title, and then I just start building on it, you know.
Exactly.
Maybe get a PowerPoint, because a lot of times we use PowerPoint, you know, in the video, but it doesn't always happen that way. They'll say, oh, you could fix the PowerPoint after the fact. I'm like, well, it's like doubling my workload.
Exactly. And we go back to the complaining and the nagging from from our bosses.
How come it's not finished yet? Well, because I'm recreating the wheel.
Exactly. How come this is taking 6 months to do? Well, 6 months ago, we did ask you for a pre-production and a plan of what is going to happen.
Right.
I mean, even in distributing your content, you can even boil it down to, hey, you know, I'm going to create content for a week, you know, and we're going to sell it the following week. And guess what? You make money a lot faster. And that's will make everybody happy, you know? So it goes back to time. If you have the time well spent is going to be in pre-production.
Right. Time management and documentation.
Exactly.
Hand in hand.
Quick tip. If you have any tips on your own, be sure to comment, like, share, and subscribe to our podcast.
Yes, please.
This was BTS RAW Chats.